Hey everyone, I've got a wild, crazy short story for you today. I recently went on a really wonderful date with somebody, very rewarding for both of us, only to, I believe, find out that she has multiple personality disorder. I would love y'all's feedback on this and on what you think it might be, but I think it's multiple personality disorder. So here it goes. I'll keep it short, and then I'll give my general thoughts on dating and so forth, along with my perspective on it based on my observations and my feelings and my philosophies. So, went out on a date with somebody. Great time, the laughter, the conversation, everything just flowed so effortlessly, naturally, organically, just, perfectly ideal. And there was even some making out involved, so that's awesome. But we didn't have sex, and I kept the making out on the light side. I mean, hands did not even go over genitals or anything like that. So it's just light making out, great conversation, laughter, just a really cool, ideal date. During the course of the date, there were some indications that something might go wrong later. For example, one of them was she kept a couple times, 2 or 3 times over the course of the date, she voiced a concern that she would never hear from me again. I'm guessing because that's been her experience in the past with other guys that she has dated. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I sort of pumped the brakes on the making out and kept it light, more on the surface, rather than anything too much, because I didn't want to fill her head with that kind of that I didn't want to feed that kind of worry that she might not hear from me again. So, because I believe the way that things were going and the heat and the romance involved, it could have easily have led to sex, I do believe. But looking back, I know I made the right decision for sure, especially now. But, so fast forward to the following day, phone conversation, a little bit of messaging back and forth, and it's all very good and wonderful humor, and can't wait to see each other again. That kind of thing, just sort of floating on a cloud together. It was great. And then the following day, a little bit of messaging back and forth, and she tells me she got some blood work done at the doctor's, just a regular checkup, and my response to that was, oh good, that's awesome, you got some blood work done. Hopefully you learned that you're not pregnant, LOL. A joke. A normal person would have laughed, as all my female friends I've told this story to is like, yeah, I would have just laughed my ass off, Tom, because that's funny. But not this one. So here's where things go from, oh, we're floating on a cloud, this feels so nice, down to someplace complete opposite of that. She writes back in a text message and says, that was rude as fuck. Don't ever contact me again. If you contact me again, I'm pressing charges against you. I'm like, totally jolted. I mean, there wasn't even a segue period from floating in this cloud to that. Just completely stunned. What do you do with that? Okay, so I think she has multiple personality disorder, or somebody hacked into her account, like a jealous ex maybe, and sent those messages. So it's possible I might get a phone call later profusely apologizing, but I doubt it. I think it's more likely she has some sort of mental disorder, and that didn't come up in conversation. Why would it? She seemed normal in that context. There was no indication to bring up mental health questions or declarative statements, but there's something going on there for sure. I think so anyway, but I would love your feedback on it. If you've got something, I'd love to hear about it. So she voiced a concern about never hearing from me again. Then she creates this scenario on a dime where she's never going to hear from me again. Normally, I don't text people back when they're that irrational and out of their mind, but I was so jolted, I did text her back. I just basically read her the riot act, so to speak. And I actually did include it in my riot act. I suggested she should go get checked up at a mental health care facility because her personality was completely diametrically opposed to the one that I have known up to this point that is just turned on a dime, because that isn't normal. So tell me what you guys think. Also, so just some observations. I concluded years and years ago that girls, and probably guys too, people in general, are perhaps unwittingly attracted to relationships that make them physically sick and emotionally drained. I see it all the time with girls. They go back to guys that are familiar to them, but also very toxic to them. So it seems like whatever is familiar has taken a priority over something different and so much better. And there's a chance I saw that possibly with this girl here. I've certainly seen it with others, not just ones that have interacted with me, but just in general as I observe the dating scene. And I can understand why there's so many people that are like, yeah, I'm out. I'm not even interested in dating. I'm not going to date no matter what because I'm just sick of this. I get it. I don't completely understand it because I haven't taken that approach. My feeling is, yeah, there's a lot of really bad behavior out there, very toxic stuff, games, manipulation, lying, you name it. It's all pretty bad. But all it takes is one, so I'm going to keep that openness and enjoy the process. The dates that I go on, like all of them, I can't think of one that hasn't been fun, rewarding in some way. All of them have been great. They don't work out romantically. And typically we either become friends, or if not friends, we're at least amicable. But this one was a great date, and the follow-up afterward and the conversation the next day was really great. And then the beginning of the next day after that was really great until I made that joke about, well, hopefully you find out you're not pregnant, LOL. And then boom, turned on a dime, blocked me on Facebook, text messaged me to not contact her again, otherwise she's going to press charges. That's unbelievable. I'm still just sort of stunned from it and jolted out of this floaty place that I was in. But thankfully this hadn't, we'd only been dating. We went out on one date, and it was 2 days after the date when things just took a nosedive just suddenly. So it's not like I'm terribly emotionally invested in it, so I'm happy it happened this soon, if it was going to happen at all. But I don't want to let people like this, or experiences like this, just take me out of the dating pool, because I'd be robbing some amazing woman of me, the greatness that is myself. And also I'd be robbing myself of the greatness that is of some future mysterious goddess that I have yet to meet. But all of my dates are fun, and this is, I can't remember, I don't remember any date ever going badly, but I also can't remember the last time, like post-date, where something went this badly. There's been moments where I was ghosted, which happens a lot to people, and I would say that ends badly if there's ghosting involved, but it wasn't explicitly bad because there was no communication. There's no, it's just complete mystery and abandonment, so to speak. But in this case, it's still a feeling of abandonment and mystery for sure, because it's like, what the fuck? Why? How did that happen? No clue. But there's something much more explicit about having some kind of communication, even if it's as bad and irrational as this one was. So, yeah, this might be a first, because I'm really trying to think back, like between the ghostings that have happened and then this, where it's just a direct line of communication that makes no sense at all, but it's horrible, like explicitly bad. Otherwise, it's all been good, really. Yeah. Weird. Very, very weird. I would love your guys' feedback, and I'll close on this note. When I think about ideal possible partner in life, think about someone where we're not, there's no unhealthy dependency on each other. We're together because we want to be together, and there's no clinginess, there's no suffocation. We got our own separate lives, but then we can also come together too in an overlapping kind of way because we want to, not out of some unhealthy neediness, but because we want to. Neither has to financially support the other. Of course, treating to dinner or whatever, doing things for each other, that's fine because we can, not because we have to. But to me, that's a huge sense of freedom. When there's elements to a relationship that reminds me of human ownership, I'm not interested. I don't want those things. And that takes on many, many forms. I see it in so many other relationships, ones that typically people are not very happy in because there's too many elements of being treated like human property. And that, man, that's no fun. But it's also extremely frustrating to me because there are so many girls out there. I don't know how many guys have given up, but there's so many girls out there that just, they will not date, period, because they're sick and tired of, oh, things start out really well, and then, bam, complete irrational 180, nothing makes sense, this is bullshit. And, you know, just like the experience I had is an extreme example of that, but that was a kind of a bait and switch, a 180 pivot without any rhyme or reason whatsoever. The kind of stuff that makes a lot of girls go, yeah, I'm done. I don't even want to date anymore. And I personally think that is so incredibly sad that it's so widespread, that it's actually widespread enough to where so many girls are like, yeah, just not dating anymore. I also think it's sad to take on that new philosophy and let all those bad people with bad behaviors just sort of ruin the whole thing for them too. And so I don't want to become a person that falls into this mindset of, yeah, I'm going to keep out the bad ones, but I'm also going to keep out maybe the once in a while, you know, the one good one, you know, the ultimate good one, like the one, so to speak. Because if I'm going to put up a big wall, like so many people do, I'm keeping out the good experiences along with the bad ones. And I don't want to do that. I see a lot of girls do that. And I don't pursue them because if there's a wall, I don't want to compete against that. So anytime I ask a woman out, there's got to be some indication that she's even interested or that she wants to be asked out. I never go blindly, because rejection sucks, and I want to operate from a place of really high vibrational energy, you know? And I feel like if I were to just blindly ask someone out just because I'm interested and I have no clue, no indication from said woman if she's interested, and I just ask her out, I feel like it's a lower vibe. Like I'm coming from a place of lower energy, and I don't want to do that. And yeah, so public service announcement to all you ladies out there. Got the walls up. I understand it, but you're keeping out the good ones too, you know, and they're out there. I keep reminding myself there's probably some good women out there too. I don't know where they're at, but I'm sure they're out there. And so I'm going to keep my mind open and sharp and flow with the moments and make silly videos like this, trying to make sense of it all. And believe it or not, the feedback that I get from you people on videos I make that are like this is actually helpful in processing. Also, the one-on-one conversations I have with particularly my female friends is also very helpful too. And it's all pretty conclusive with all the different feedback with all my female friends and a lot of feedback I get online. People are indeed drawn to toxic relationships and what is familiar, and what is familiar sort of takes priority over something different and far better than what's familiar. It's so incredibly sad to me. I mean, something has to break that mindset. Otherwise, it's a life that is much more difficult than needs to be. All right, this long-winded video is over. 13 and a half minutes in. Thanks if you watched this, and look forward to reading the feedback. Bye for now.